So good morning everyone, and we welcome you to our sessions on the NRA, which are going to be a series of episodes on the newly published National Risk Assessment, which was published in January 2024 with the date of December 2023. So we'll be referring to it as the 2023 NRA. I'm joined this morning with the ARQ AML compliance team, or a part of our compliance team, and the series of episodes are going to delve a bit deeper into the contents of the National Risk Assessment. So as a team, we divided the NRA into various chapters as it is set out in the document itself, and delved deeper, so a bit of a deep dive into all these different sectors. And we're going to have episodes focusing on specific sectors. The first episode, however, will examine how we should be reading the NRA and what particular aspects of the NRA are important for compliance officers, for organizations, etc. But if we can just take maybe one step back and look at why the NRA is important and where it has come from. So if we look at the FATF recommendations way back in 2012, as most of you recall, because you were already working in this field, at least most of you, I would say, FATF recommendations shifted completely. We had what was very much a rules-based approach before, and from 2012 onwards, the world decided to take a totally different approach to combating money laundering and terrorism financing, with much more of a focus on assessing risk and understanding risk. And if we look at the new, if you can call it new, so the post-2012 recommendation 1, the focus has been on understanding risk. Now that means that not only are jurisdictions expected to have the prosecutions, the police, etc., assessing risk and focusing their investigations, prosecutions on the higher risk areas, and financial supervisors focusing on the higher risk areas, but also all entities that are subject to the laws in the various respective countries have to adopt a risk-based approach. And they can only do so on the basis of a good understanding of risk within the country. So every country from 2012 onwards, and this was followed in the EU by the changes that came about with the 40 EU directive that became law in Malta as from 1st January 2018, the focus was on having a national risk assessment, and therefore entities needed to incorporate the findings of the national risk assessment in their own compliance programs. And we could do that for the first time when we had an NRA published in 2018. That was the first version of the NRA in Malta. And now we have the second iteration of Malta's National Risk Assessment that looks at the threats, the vulnerabilities, the risk of money laundering, terrorism financing, and for the first time also proliferation financing and targeted financial sanctions in Malta. So the NRA actually does give us scores, it does give us a narrative. So both the score and the narrative is important for anybody who needs to understand what to integrate within his or her compliance program. We have a table with scores on page 18 of the NRA. There are the scores, so we have the inherent risk and the residual risk and an assessment of effectiveness, which is a bit different from the previous NRA, where you also had an overall score. That is something that we don't find in the NRA 2023, an overall score for Malta. However, as we will see as we go through the different sectors in the upcoming episodes, clearly there's a lowering of residual risk. So the main changes between 2018 and 2023 are that the risk has decreased in most of the sectors. We'll go into more detail later on. Some of the episodes will be sectorial, as I said earlier on, so we'll be looking at banks and financial institutions, gaming companies, TNFBPs, etc. in the coming months. What I wish is that the audience we have can follow us as we unwrap the various aspects, findings, conclusions of this NRA, and hopefully they'll stay with us for all the episodes we have for them.